In southwestern Virginia after major flooding. Authorities initially counted more than 40 people as unaccounted for in Buchanan County, but they tracked everybody down by noon yesterday. Still, damage to the region was extensive, with blocked bridges and some roads washed away. And Buchanan County Sheriff Chief Deputy Eric Breeding says people really need some basics so they can get started on recovery.
Their immediate need at this time is cleaning supplies, such as mops, buckets, shovels, general cleaning supplies, bleach, stuff like that.
County officials are also asking for donations of money to help out. The Lynchburg Parks and Recreation Department is advising residents to be aware that igniting fireworks or other pyrotechnic displays on designated public property is not permitted. Over the past July 4th weekend, several basketball and tennis courts were burned when fireworks were set off, costing thousands of dollars of taxpayer money to repair. The surfaces will have to be completely recovered with new surface material, as the burn marks caused permanent damage that can't be removed otherwise. The Parks and Rec Department says violators will be prosecuted under Lynchburg ordinances for discharging fireworks on city property. And the Lynchburg Humane Society has named Jill Mollahan as its new executive director effective August 1st. Mollahan replaces Jan Walker, who announced her retirement earlier this year. Walker will continue to serve as a volunteer and on various boards and committees. Mollahan has been with the Lynchburg Humane Society for the past 12 years in a variety of positions. It's 7:36 on the morning line. On this Friday, it's the 15th of July. Mary and Brian with you, and Biscuit as well. We're getting ready to talk to our friends from Central Technology Solutions about cyber insurance and some other topics as well. But real quickly, let's go back to the phones. We had talked about the woman in Alaska who had a white privilege card instead of a driver's license, and she showed it to police. She's Filipino, and they snickered at it, and they let her go, and now they're under investigation. So that's the summary, and Matt wants to weigh in. Hi, Matt. What do you think? Good morning.
Biscuit told me to be quick.
Okay.
Let's say as fast as I can. There's a guy I follow on TikTok. He's an older black man. He does news commentary and everything. He's very smart, and I like to hear his opinion on things. Well, he said he frequently sits down with his two nieces, 13 and 15, and asks them about what's going on and what they're hearing. And he asked them about Roe versus Wade, what they thought, what they had heard. This is what they told him. They were told that that court ruling was based on white supremacy, because white people are too concerned that most of the abortions are white babies, and this is a way to try to increase the white population. That's what they were told at 13, 15 years old. I don't know from where, but this is the kind of crap they're being fed on social media. So he set them straight, talked to them about Margaret Sanger, the history of the Democratic Party, certain things like that. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's the Russian hoax thing all over again.
What's his what? Where do you follow the guy, Matt? On TikTok? On TikTok? Okay. All right. And that's good to know about Matt, that Matt's on TikTok. And Biscuit's on TikTok. So Biscuit, will have you find out more for us about this guy. Sounds like an interesting fellow. Matt, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. We're here with Tommy Vaughn and Sherry Arthur with Central Technology Solutions. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everything going?
Fantastic. And by the way, you can also follow us on TikTok.
Yes, you can.
I think it's going to be more exciting.
Team CTS, we do the dancing, and we have some jokes out there, and, you know, it's educational as well.
Sherry, do you organize the dancing, or does Tommy organize the dancing?
I kind of just barge into the offices and say, hey, study this. We're on in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, that's so not true.
It's like some synchronized dancing, huh?
No, she comes in, camera already on. That's how that works.
But they do it, so, and they love it, so it's fun.
But TikTok is, you know, we've talked quite a bit about it. What is the latest concern about TikTok? Just the information sharing, the privacy concerns, but it can be...
It's because it's a company owned, majority of the company's owned by Chinese investments. So what we do is we try to spread disinformation. You know, we're trying to convince them that it's like the Russia hoax thing. It's actually Tiger Woods' fault. So... But we're still working on it. We'll figure it out.
Spreading disinformation about dancing at companies and things. It's so interesting that it has such serious ramifications about privacy concerns, that kind of thing. But on the other hand, it's just, it can be silly and fun, and people are they're watching entertainment, they're learning recipes, just kind of people love some TikTok. So. All right, but that's not what we wanted to talk about today. We wanted to talk about cyber insurance, and this is something that companies need to be aware of if they are getting the proper cyber insurance. Tommy, is that a correct summation? Or?
Right. To be clear, we do not sell insurance.
Okay.
We work with lots of insurance groups and companies, and we've actually had insurance companies come to us and help with investigations after an incident. But the reason I want to talk about it is I was reading even this morning on the Insurance Journal about a company, and it really, kind of resonated that I've seen this happen even here, and I hope that locally people, if this resonates with them, they'll give us a buzz. As we talked about before, it's not about us coming and fixing your printer, but about building something that, your organization's going to be able to grow and be safe. So right now, the issue was filed in court, the U.S. District Court, on July 6th. Travelers Insurance has denied a claim to one of their customers, and the reason they did is the customer had an admin account that did not have MFA turned on, but they had MFA turned on other things.
MFA being
multi-factor authentication questionnaire. So that was considered misleading because it wasn't true. Now, I don't know. That's what I know about the case. What I've seen in our world is we have customers send us insurance forms. Hey, I just got this. Can you fill it out? It is not your IT company's job to fill that out. It is not our responsibility. We're not signing it. You are, meaning the company or the CEO. So the right way to handle it, what we do is we actually look through the questions, and if there's something we can answer, we write a description or an answer explaining how we would answer it to the customer, and the customer decide how they want to answer it. But we also build our CTS way, our basic level, like you're our customer. We built that off of what the insurance companies are requiring to even insure you. And then we move up to NIST and CMMC and some other regulatory things that we can do to help customers out. But part of what we do, this would have never happened, and their insurance claim first off, they probably wouldn't have had to have a claim.
Okay.
Because they would have never got there, which is obviously is what the insurance company was banking on. But it's important. You don't drive around with your car with no insurance, So you're running your company and you have a major loss. I mean, that could be it. Statistics say it's like 70% of companies that have a major breach or ransomware attack never fully recover.
Wow. So in this case, it was a CFO, and it might be the CFO or the CEO. In other words, the head of the company is signing off on this insurance, that the company has this valid insurance, that person probably, unless it's, say, your company, which that's your job at Central Technology Solutions, is the cybersecurity. But any other company, the CEO is probably not going to know anything about cybersecurity and whether the company is up to speed. So they're relying on their IT people, but even their IT people don't know all the regulations, all the requirements, right?
Correct. And I think, it's a fine line, right? Because they're trying to run a business. They're CEO, they're busy, they're CFO. They don't want to worry about this. They want to let me just write a check to somebody. Unfortunately, in today's world, it doesn't work that way. Now, as a consultant, because that's what we do, we're able to come in and say, we're not trying to make them an expert in IT. We can do that. But the questions that they're getting ready to sign a document on, they should understand what they're signing, what it means. And that's what our job is. So there's 10, 12 questions that affect us on your insurance document. Let us go ahead and explain to you what that is in writing, and then you can make the decision on how you want to do it. But again, let's just say you don't do that. You just assume everything's good because it's already been good until it happens to you. And you're paying several $1,000s a year for this insurance policy that when you need it, you find out it's no good. Talking about kicking the gut.
The case that you're talking about with Travelers Insurance, do we have any details on that particular claim, like what happened?
Right. So part of that, there's several things that they cited that they were denying the claim because it was considered misleading. But the attack actually happened from an admin account. So as an example, you have a bunch of users, and the users aren't admins. They can access everything, but they can't do a lot. Well, that
which is typical, right?
It is very typical. And it's traditional old school IT, which we're not old school IT at CTS. So what happens is there's credentials for this admin account. So anybody who needs it can log in as the admin to make a change, and then they're on a server or whatever.
They had like one admin account that a bunch of people were sharing?
So there's naturally within Windows environments, there's global admin, there's site admins, there's, basic kind of built-in deal. So instead of me saying, hey, I'm the admin, I'm still Tommy because my email's Tommy, everything's Tommy. So the admin account sits there and is only used when needed. Well, because it's sitting there, people think, okay, well, I don't need MFA on that, right? Why do I need multi-factor authentication? Because it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to anybody that needs it, that has access to that password. Well, that's what got hacked. And one of the ways that we secure that is we make it so you can't log in as an admin. You have to log in as a user that has privileges to then access the admin, which that prevents, because you're already two-factored in to be able to even access. If you try to access the admin account from outside, you couldn't do it.
The multi-factor authentication, you mentioned it can be seen as a pain because Jay, you have to, before you can log in, you have to check your phone or somebody else, and somebody else, like the actual admin, has to say, oh yeah, this is really, Mary logging in and sign you in. But it can be a pain, but it can save companies just count the dollars and headaches, right?
Right. I mean, imagine if you get hit hard and you lose a lot, like we talked about the last time, which I don't want to scare anybody. It's important to have insurance, right? And it's important to have a good designed, well-maintained network if your business is important to you. And if it's not, then we're definitely not the right people to call.
So a question there, because it seems like multi-factor authentication has become pretty close to ubiquitous at this point. So surely there are plenty of people trying to find a way around that. So how does the arms race go? People find a way around that. Then do you have some different form of multi-factor, authentication, multi-factor authentication? Yeah.
MFA, right. So it's funny you said that. So that if you can even Google this, how to beat two-factor authentication, you can easily do that in minutes, depending on how it's set up. So it's not just do you have it set up properly, right? It's like you buy a router, you plug it in, you don't go in and change any settings, then you haven't done anything. And if you're not monitoring it, managing it, things change. But there are things like FIDO tokens. That's a big one we see people like. So instead of having to pull your phone up and type in a 6-digit code or click OK because it's you logging in, it's actually a token that has a long key attached to it, and it's only looking for it during a certain time. And basically all you do is when it put your username, password in, hit enter, it tells you to touch your FIDO or YubiKey, you touch it, and then that authenticates that it's you. It's kind of a neat way to do it, so you don't have to have a phone involved, because that tends to be, when you Google it, a way that can be hacked.
Because if you're just getting as a regular text message, that doesn't strike me as especially secure.
It's not, and the worst is email. When people set it up to get the email code sent to them, so if I hack your email, I get in your email, and then I have your codes. It's like, it's really not a good way to do it.
We've talked about people hacking in, the bad actors trying to get information. They're trying to get in so they can get the information. We had one just within the past couple of weeks where it's an email coming from what looks to be someone within our company saying, hey, can you take care of this invoice right away?
Darn Kenny.
And the invoice, and the best we can figure, Tommy, weigh in here, and Sherry, but I hope they weren't clicking. I hope maybe they were trying to get into the system, but what I think they were trying to do was just to have you think it looked like a legitimate invoice, that they were just trying to get you to and it had a name and address. They're just trying to get you to write a check, or your accounting person to write a check, thinking, okay, this is a legitimate company. It looks like these are legitimate services, and I'm writing off a check, and here it goes.
But then it's a PDF.
Yes.
Right. In the PDF, you can have scripting written too.
Okay.
So we talked about this before. I know we've demonstrated this to you guys. You click on it.
Yeah.
It downloads something to your computer, opens your invoice. You realize, hey, this really isn't me, and delete it. Doesn't matter. You've already activated it.
And no warning bells go off. Whoop, whoop,
right.
whoop.
No. But no warning bells. You know nothing's going on. You think it's just over. In the meantime, they scrubbed your browser history. They've stolen your passwords. Most computers, 70 to 80 passwords stored in the browser. They're stealing tokens, so now they can bypass two-factor. All of this just because you clicked on that little invoice thing. And at that point, it's like, first off, that shouldn't be getting to you. So there's some structure things that you would look at, concerns there. There's no software tool that fixes this. It literally takes human beings working regularly around the clock to keep up with these threat actors. And again, that's what we do. We're not let me fix your printer. We could do that. We do that. But we're there to build something that is going to be long-lasting.
Tommy Vaughn, Sherry Arthur, Central Technology Solutions, thank you so much for being here and always making us feel a little bit afraid. So, lots of information, but always just kind of unsettling. But I'm glad you all are on top of things, and a lot of area businesses are glad about that as well. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And we'll talk to you again next month, when you'll be joining us for our Friday Five.
Yes.
We've already chosen the topic. It's going to be a good one. So, all right, you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.